Hello folks, I'm up on my deck today, clearing out my pots. I had tomatoes up here last year and some peppers and eggplant. The eggplant didn't do anything. The peppers actually did surprisingly well, and the tomatoes didn't do as well, but it was a very cold year last year. So I usually leave all of the debris in my garden over winter. That has two effects. One effect is that bugs can live through the winter in the hollow stems and stuff. So here, there's space inside there, and just like in the curves of the leaves, they tend to lay eggs and stuff. And the other effect is that bugs can live through the winter. So you have often both predator and prey bugs, and usually the prey bugs eat your plants, and the predator bugs eat the bugs that eat your plants. So you kind of want a healthy population of the predator bugs, which means that you need a healthy population of the prey bugs, because if you don't have stuff for them to eat, then they can't live. They go somewhere else. So this kind of keeps, in general, keeps the area full of good bugs, prey or predator bugs. So yeah, just pulling out the stems. You can see I raked my main garden there and put all the stems in a pile there. I need to get out there and plant my fava beans and my peas, and probably almost time to plant cabbage and lettuce. Oh, these guys are gonna see if they can find any of those bugs. Also up on this deck is last year I got a whole bunch of haskap berries. You can see all in these pots here and here, and also all along here. Basically anything that's in a 1 gallon or 2 gallon, like the smaller black pots, or that pink pot there, are haskaps. And I also put a couple in these bigger pots here. If you're not familiar with them, they are a kind of berry that grows in very cold places in eastern Canada, Japan, and boreal Russia. And so they weren't really developed, like bred to taste good, but they were really cold hardy, and they were really good at making berries. So someone in Saskatchewan, Bob Boers, started breeding these to taste good, and it's working. So they're these berries that are incredibly, incredibly hardy. Like, got to minus 30 up here, easy, like well below. And normally when something is in the ground kind of protects it. But these are up in small pots, and you can see they're starting to break bud here. Just starting. A couple of them are more than just starting. And so I got, 12 different kinds, 10 different kinds last year, and potted them up in these pots, and they grew all summer. And now I'm trying to see what survived the winter and what didn't survive the winter. It's kind of hard to tell because if they're alive, their stems still look pretty dead until, like, even there, at first glance, it doesn't look like much is going on, and then you realize that those are buds that are opening, leaf buds. So hard to tell. This one's alive. It's a little green tip there. And then obviously this cluster in the middle is very happily alive. This one is blue banana. So that one looks like it starts up pretty early. In general, if something starts to leaf out when it gets warm, that means it's less hardy. Plants that grow in areas like this where it's really cold, they'll often wait until it's much warmer before they open their leaves. You can see these aspen trees, like we've had all this warmth and they're not doing much because they know that if it's warm early, that's kind of a fluke. And so they need to have some sort of mechanism to wait until they're sure it's safe. So doing that with my pots, and then this is my tomato trial here. There are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, roughly 11 flats of tomatoes, about 150 tomato plants here that I started March 1st. And they're growing very, very well. You can see I ran out of pots here and put them in cream cartons, which can be labeled very handily with a Sharpie. All sorts of plants or of early tomatoes here. And then also I have some little eggplants, some tomatillos and ground cherries, some peppers. Most of the peppers are inside. Little cabbages starting, and weird broccolis. I don't do normal heading broccolis, but I do some weird ones that send up little sprouts, so you can like snap off the little sprouts one at a time instead of getting one big head. You can see this one has, see how yellow it is in the center? It's usually a fertilizer issue. What kind is it? Ambrosia red. So that's a little cherry tomato. We'll see. One of the things that I love about a trial like this is that you get all different sorts of leaf shapes and sizes. Some are like this, like big leaves called potato leaf. Some are like this, which is like a more standard leaf. This one is very rare, but or not very common in different varieties of tomatoes, but is I don't even know what that would be called. It's silvery fir tree is the plant. Oh yeah, just these go out as soon as it gets above 2 or 3 degrees in the morning, and then they go back in the evening when I get tired and want to go to sleep. So yeah, tidying up the deck, planting stuff down there, and you can see over there I've started a pellet wall. Then I need to finish my fence on this side, and that patch of garden will be fenced off. That had potatoes last year, and it's going to, honestly, it might take a lot of my tomato trial this year. I might put a lot of that in there. We'll see what ends up going where, depending on, like that's a pretty rich slope because I put a lot of compost on it, but it's also going to dry out fastest. So I may want something that doesn't need a lot of water there. And then over here, the pigs got moved into the backfield. And with the exception of one little mama pig who is in that shed with her 2 little piglets. When I was moving them, she looked super pregnant, so she stayed behind. But that means that field can get rototilled soon. It's still a little bit squishy. and there's some tree roots, so not all of it is, I can't run a machine over all of it. But my plan was to put grain up there and some corn and some squash. Might also try some rice up there. But it kind of depends on what happens when. Some things need to go in the ground sooner. And so if down here is ready to go, then I might put stuff in the ground down here sooner and put the tomatoes up there later. This will be the first year that that area has a garden, but it should be pretty, the pigs killed the grass pretty good, and it's pretty rich soil because the pigs were in there over winter. It's a lot of straw and manure mixed in, and like the equivalent of maybe 5 tons of grain, 6 tons of grain that I fed to the pigs, and they've distributed it. So it'll be interesting to see how that grows stuff. And so then I guess it's pretty easy to see from up here. Once this part is closed off, then if I close this part off here, and there's a fence right behind this building, then up top here is closed off, and I can put the geese essentially in the back and keep them off up here so that they won't, they'll stay off my lawn. So I can get this less muddy and seed it back to some clover or something. It was clover when I came. It would be good to have that back and do a little bit more controlled grazing rather than having them pick out their favorite clover from everything. That little brown chicken there pecking at the feed bag is one of those new girls. They're settling right in. They're very happy. They want to nest in my carport on top of all my like pots and things, but I'm letting them have as much fun as they want for right now. I might try and find a way to keep them out of my carport soon. Hey, geese, 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 geese. So yeah, that's a nice sunny afternoon here. Some really good northern lights lately, but I can't show you that in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day. I just want to be out in the garden all day. It's hard to focus at work, but I need to go back to it. So you all have a good afternoon. Hope you can find some space outside that's safe and that feels good to you. Bye-bye.